Have you ever had a memory that you try not to think about, but it still shows up anyway? Maybe it's something you meant to do, someone you meant to call back, a visit you kept putting off because life just kept getting in the way. I'm sharing it because I've lived through it. And maybe, just maybe, if you hear what I learned too late, you won't have to carry the same weight I do. And then, one day, it was too late. No warning, no second chance. Just silence and the sound of your own regret. But because I told myself, I'll visit next week. Or, she understands, I'm busy. I thought there'd be more time, more calls, more visits. But life doesn't always give you warnings. Sometimes it just closes the door and leaves you standing there with your hands full of excuses. The kind of moments we think we'll have forever, until suddenly they're gone. If there is someone in your life you've ever been meaning to call or visit, don't wait. Don't overthink it. Just reach out. But one day became 2, then a week, then a month, and every time I waited, I convinced myself she was fine, that I was being overdramatic, but she was getting older. She didn't say it, but I could hear the tiredness in her voice. I just chose not to really listen, even if it's only for 5 minutes. Even if you don't know what to say, presence speaks louder than perfect words. And if there's one thing I'd give anything to undo, it would be those quiet delays. Because time is the one thing we don't get to rewind. Because now, every time I hear the word tomorrow, it feels heavier. And I don't want that weight for you. Even if we show up messy, even if we're tired, even if we don't know what to say, they just want to know we care, that we're there. And when we are, even the most ordinary moments can become memories that last forever. Lessons that came too late for me, but maybe not for you. No guilt trip, no questions, just love. We talked about the weather, about a neighbor's new dog, about her garden. She sounded okay. But you know what she said before hanging up? I'm so glad you called today. I was starting to wonder if you were okay. And the first one is this. Connection is not about grand gestures, it's about showing up in the small moments. If that resonates with you, I want you to know you're not alone. And this story isn't meant to make you feel worse, especially when they're the ones who always reached out first. But strength doesn't mean they don't need us, and independence doesn't mean they're not lonely. And that's when I realized I wasn't just missing time with her. I was making her carry the weight of wondering if I was okay, when it should have been me making sure she was. You see, I wasn't there when my mother needed me, not because I didn't care, not because I didn't love her. It wasn't one big event. It was 100 small ones. A birthday I missed because I was tired. A hospital visit I postponed because I thought it wasn't serious. It wasn't loud. It was quiet. The kind of quiet that fills a room after someone you love is gone. No more reminders. No more second chances. Just a memory that echoes back all the moments I missed. But connection doesn't work that way. My mother didn't need roses. She didn't need long letters or expensive gifts. She just needed me to be there. To listen. To laugh with her while folding laundry. To sit quietly next to her while she watched her old TV shows. She just needed time, something I thought I had plenty of, until I didn't. And the phone calls, I let them ring because I told myself, I'll call back later. She never complained. That's the thing. Mothers often don't. She just kept loving me, even when I didn't show up the way she deserved. And the moment I truly realized what I had done, there are 3 hard lessons I learned from that experience. We often think that if we plan something big, a fancy dinner, a vacation, a holiday visit, it'll make up for all the small things we skip. Looking back, I'd trade every one of those busy afternoons for one more lazy morning with her, drinking tea and talking about nothing. The second lesson I learned, one that still hurts to admit, is that procrastination isn't harmless. It steals moments you can never get back. I used to tell myself, I'll check in with Mom tomorrow. It felt harmless, just a day. It's easy to procrastinate when it comes to relationships, especially when the people we love seem strong. I remember once, I finally did call her back after a few weeks of silence. She answered right away, cheerful as ever. She wasn't angry that I hadn't called. She was worried about me. The clock doesn't stop just because we're busy. So if you've been putting something off, a conversation, a hug, a coffee date, don't wait for the right time. Make time. And maybe, most importantly, I learned that the people we love don't want us to be perfect. They just want us to be present. Even if we show up messy, even if we're tired, even if we don't know what to say, they just want to know we care, that we're there. And when we are, even the most ordinary moments can become memories that last forever. I still remember the last time I saw her, not because anything dramatic happened. It wasn't some teary farewell or emotional send-off. It was just normal. A quiet Sunday afternoon. She made tea. I brought her some soup. We talked about something on the news, I think. Nothing important. And I remember thinking, I should stay longer. But I had errands, laundry, a few emails waiting. And so, I kissed her cheek, promised to visit again next week, and Dan left. Next weekend never came. I'd tell myself, what's the point of calling if I'm just going to sound distracted or exhausted? We wait until we feel more presentable, more available, more emotionally prepared. But life doesn't wait for perfect timing, and the people who love us don't care if we show up a little messy. They just care that we show up at all. But now I realize, she didn't need me to be cheerful or put together. Maybe there's someone you haven't spoken to in a while. It is easy to feel like we're being left behind, or that our presence doesn't matter like it once did. But it does. It matters more than you know. A sibling, a friend, maybe even your own child, or showing up at someone's door with a small smile and no big plan, just your time, your attention. We think those moments are small, but to someone else, they might be the moment that reminds them they're not alone. I imagine what she would say if she was still here. Probably something like, "It's okay. Just keep loving the way you always meant to." And I try. I really try. With a little more yes, and a little less, maybe tomorrow. And maybe you've been waiting for the right words, or for them to reach out first, or for time to feel just right. You can't go back and rewrite the past. I've tried, believe me. But what you can do is make sure you don't carry the same silence forward. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your love, your presence, your voice, they still matter. They still have the power to make someone's day a little lighter. You can choose to show up now for the people who are still here. And in doing that, you honor the people you've lost. But if I could go back, I'd tell myself what I am telling you now. Don't wait to be perfect. Just be present. She just wanted to hear my voice, to feel a connection, to know I was still out there, still okay, still her child. Not because everything will be perfect, but because connection itself is the gift. I understand that fear, but you know what? Most of the time, people are just waiting for a reason to reconnect. One small gesture can break years of silence. And even if it doesn't go the way you hope, you'll know you tried, you showed up. And that's powerful. The thing about real regret is that it sneaks up on you in the quietest moments. Not when you're surrounded by noise and activity, but when you're alone, when the house is too quiet and you hear your thoughts echoing back at you. That's when it hits you, the things you didn't say, the time you didn't take, the moments you assumed would repeat themselves. And that brings me to the third thing I learned too late. Your presence is someone else's comfort, even if you don't feel like you have much to give. There were days when I didn't call because I felt too tired, or too stressed, or not in the mood to talk. Sometimes we think we need to be our best selves before we reach out. I know now that my mother wasn't keeping score. She wasn't sitting there measuring the quality of our conversations or how energetic I sounded. She just loved me. That's it. It's that weary, not just losing time when we postpone connection, weary missing the opportunity to be someone else's peace. And as we get older, that matters more than we might think. And love doesn't ask for perfection. It just asks for presence. There's something else I've realized over time. I know some of you watching might be carrying your own quiet regrets. We live in a world that moves fast, even when we're slowing down. There's something incredibly powerful in simply picking up the phone and saying, "Hey, I was thinking about you." I'll be honest with you, healing from regret is hard. Some days, I still hear her voice in my head. Not scolding or judging, but gentle, as always. That's one of the things I wanted to pass on to you today. It's never too late to be more intentional with your love. So if there's someone you've lost touch with, maybe it's been months, maybe even years, don't let that silence keep growing. Reach out. And if you're thinking, what if they don't want to hear from me? I wish I had shown up more often for my mother, not with grand gestures, not with fancy words, just with time, with presence, with a little more yes and a little less, maybe tomorrow. The strange thing about grief is that it doesn't come all at once. It arrives in pieces, sometimes in a photograph you didn't expect to find, sometimes in a scent that floats past you in the grocery store. Sometimes it comes from lost time, from the realization that you missed something precious while waiting for the right time to show up. That's the kind of grief I carry. Not just losing my mother, but losing the version of myself who thought there would always be more time. Or a song on the radio that suddenly brings you back to a moment you'd almost forgotten. Because even if we learn something too late for one person, it might not be too late for everyone else still here. It doesn't ask your permission. It just slips in quietly and sits beside you, more intentional, more connected. We don't have to run marathons or start big projects to make a difference. And carrying your own regrets. You are not alone. You are not broken. We all fall short sometimes. We all wish we could go back and do things differently. But what matters most is what you do with that feeling. Ask questions, even when I think I know the answers. And I try to say I love you without waiting for the perfect moment. Because love should never be held back, especially not now. You do, right now. While your heart is still beating and your hands can still hold someone else's, you do. Not because I'm wise, but because I was tired of the silence. A handwritten card slipped into someone's mailbox. The gesture doesn't have to be big, just honest. Not the kind that wipes away sadness, but the kind that says, we don't outgrow that need. If anything, it becomes more precious with time. To turn silence into connection, to turn waiting into action, and to turn missed chances into meaningful moments starting right now. Let others know they're not the only ones carrying quiet regrets or seeking reconnection. Sometimes, seeing someone else open up gives us the courage to do the same. They're out there. Sometimes, all it takes is a bit of bravery. Not because I want numbers, but because every time you do, it helps this message reach someone else who might really need it today. A step toward vulnerability. A willingness to say, I miss you. Or, can we talk? Or simply, I care. And the people who matter most, they're just waiting for you to say hello again. You're doing your best now, and that counts. I was tired of waking up with what ifs on my chest, and so I started small. A call here, a visit there, a little more courage to speak honestly, even if my voice shook a bit. Sometimes, the most meaningful thing we can do is simply be there for someone when they need us most. And the truth is, grief doesn't always come from death. But I'm learning not everything is lost forever. Not every lesson has to end in sorrow. Things I used to assume they already knew. I'm proud of you. I miss you. You matter to me. I think that's especially true when it comes to relationships. We don't need dozens of people around us. Just a few who truly know us, who we feel safe with, who we can call when something wonderful happens or when we're simply feeling a little lonely. I don't wait anymore for the right mood or a reason. I just write, because I know now how much it means to hear those things while you're still here. There's a deep power in changing how we live right now, today, this very moment. We can choose to put the phone down and listen when someone speaks. We can take 5 minutes to write a note, send a message, or drop by a neighbor's house just to say hello. We can slow down long enough to see each other, really see each other, in the time we have left. I think as we get older, we start to understand that life isn't about doing more, it's about being more present. For me, part of healing has been finding small ways to carry my mother's spirit forward. I try to speak a little softer, listen a little longer. I also started writing letters to people I care about, not long ones, just a few honest lines. And I want to say this, especially if you're watching this, you can let it harden you or you can let it open your heart. I chose the second path, and slowly, I started feeling something I hadn't felt in a long time: peace. So if you're watching this, wondering whether you still have time to reconnect, to repair, to be the kind of person you always meant to be, the answer is yes. There's no expiration date on love, no deadline on reaching out, and it doesn't take much. A simple phone call, a quiet visit. You know, they say that as we age, we start to value quality over quantity. And if you haven't found those people yet, or if you've lost touch with them, don't give up. Because at the end of the day, that's what we all need: to be seen, to be heard, and to know we're not alone. So here's what I hope you carry with you after this story. Not just my regret, but the reminder that you have the power to write a different ending. If this message touched something in you, I invite you to share your own story in the comments. And if you found this video meaningful, I'd be honored if you'd click like or subscribe. So here's to loving a little braver, speaking a little sooner, and showing up imperfect, but present while we still can. You're not too late, you're right on time. Take care of your heart, take care of each other, and thank you for spending this time with me.